I defeated Gen 9 Ubers with underused Pokemon. Match starts with my opponent choosing Arceludon and Mousehold, and I choose Hatrin and Bravery. Opposing Arceludon terrestrialized into Electric, and my Bravery protected. Mousehold used Population Bomb on Arceludon, raising its defenses. Arceludon prepared for Electroshock, and my Hatrin used Trick Room. My Bravery terrestrialized into fighting, and Hatring used Mystic Fire on Archeludon to reduce its special attack. My Bravery then used Close Combat on Mousehold one shot. Persian and Sinistia came into play, healing Archeludon. I used Fake Out into Archeludon and Dazzling Gleam, reducing its HP to half. Then I use Helping Hand and Dazzling Gleam, KOing Archeludon. Next came Kyogre setting up Rain. I again use Helping Hand Dazzling Gleam combo, while my opponent used Machagocha and Water Sprout, KOing both of my mons. I send out Scyther and Jolteon, and Trick Room ends. My opponent switches Kyogre into Miraidon, setting up electric terrain. Jolteon used Alluring Voice into Miraidon, and Scyther used Dual Wing Beat. And I switch Scyther into Salazar, and Jolteon used Alluring Voice on Miraidon. Miraidon one-shots my Jolteon using Dragon Pulse. I on my last two Pokemon while my opponent has 4. Salazar used Fire Blast into Sinistia, and Sinistia protected itself, while Scyther KOs Miraidon using Bug Bite. Kyogre came in. Salazar used Fire Blast into Sinistia, and Scyther used Dual Wind Beat into Kyogre, KOing it. Sinistia used Rage Powder while my Fire Blast KO'd it, and Scyther used Force Dance and tanked Darkest Lariat. With this, my opponent forfeited and I won. In match 2, again I used Hatrin and Bravery as a lead, and my opponent used Ogerpon and Rillaboom. Ogerpon used Seed Bomb into Hatrin, and Hatrin terrorized and fire resisting it. Rillaboom used Drain Punch in Bravery. Bravery then one-shot Ogerpon using Brave Bird. Hatrin set a Trick Room, and my opponent sends out Raging Bolt. Then my Bravery protected, and Hatrin used Dazzling Gleam. Raging Bolt used Draco Meteor on my Hatrin, KOing it, while Rillaboom used Drain Punch on Bravery. On turn 3, I send out Persian. My Persian used Fake Out on Raging Bolt, and Bravery used Brave Bird on Rillaboom, KOing it. My opponent then sends out Zamazenta. Persian used Helping Hand, and Bravery used Close Combat into Zamazenta, taking it to half HP. Raging Bolt used Thunderbolt on Bravery, KOing it, and Zamazenta KOs Persian. I send out Jolteon and Salazar. Zamazenta protected itself, and Raging Bolt used Draco Meteor on Salazar, while my Jolteon KOs Raging Bolt. It's now 3 vs 3. My opponent sends out Kyurem. Jolteon used Calm Mind, and Salazar KOs Zamazenta using Fire Blast. Incineroar used Fake Out into Salazar, and Jolteon used Alluring Voice into Kyurem. Kyurem then knocks out my Salazar. Jolteon knocks out Kyurem, and Scyther used Close Combat into Incineroar. Incineroar KOs my Scyther and itself through recoil, winning me the match. With the same lead, I starts off match 3. My opponent used Coridon and Volcarona, setting off Sun. Opponent switches Coridon into Archeludon and Volcarona into Zacian. Meanwhile, my Hatrin terrestrialized into Fire, setting up Trick Room. Hatrin used Mystical Fire to KO Zacian and Bravery close combated into Archeludon. My Bravery then tanked a super effective Thunderbolt from Archeludon. Opponent then sends out Excalibur. Bravery protected and Hatrin used Dazzling Gleam. Excalibur's Earthquake brings Archeludon to 1 HP. In turn 4, Hatrin used Dazzling Gleam to KO both of my opponent's mons, while my Bravery sets up Tailwind. My opponent then sends out Coridon and Volcarona. My Hatrin used Dazzling Gleam and KOs Coridon. Volcarona used Heat Wave, my Bravery dodges it while Hatrin takes resisted damage. Bravery finishes off Volcarona with Brave Bird and gets KO'd with Recoil. With only Groudon remaining, my opponent forfeited. Match 4 starts off with I using my trusted lead and my opponent using Insane and Graphite. Hatrin then terrestrializes into Fire as Fire resists both of my Mon's primary attack, and Insane used Fake Out into protected Bravery and Graphite used Poison Jab into Hatrin, poisoning it, while Hatrin sets off Trick Room. In turn 2, Hatrin OKO Graphite using Psychic while Bravery OKO Insane using Close Combat. Opponent then sends up Garchomp and Drifblim. Hatrin used Dazzling Gleam and Bravery Brave Birded into Garchomp, while Drifblim cripples my Bravery using Willow Wisp. My opponent sends out Metagross, killing my Bravery using Bullet Punch. Meanwhile, my Hatrin turns Metagross into Ash with Mystical Fire. Drifblim, unaware of my Hatrin's magic bounce, uses Strength Sap on it, healing my Hatrin. In turn 5, I send out Persian and my opponent brings out Greninja. Persian uses Helping Hand and Hatrin KOs both of my opponent's mons with Dazzling Gleam, meaning me the match.